Hey, seventh graders. We are doing spiral review number 7. It's your perfect spiral review number 7. Here we go. We're going to do some equations. These are more than one step, right? So multi-step equations. The first two have fractions in them, and the second two, it looks like you have to do some distributive property before you can continue to solve for your fractions. So before you can continue to solve for your variables, excuse me. I just have the word fractions in my mind because I know fractions freak you guys out just a little bit. And I want to make sure that you guys understand that all the things that we do to solve equations with fractions, you guys can do them, but you get a little nervous when it's time to apply them in the middle of a bigger problem. So let's just take it one step at a time and start with number 1. So there's a couple different things happening to my variable right here. J is being multiplied by 3, and we're also adding 5/6 to that number. So whatever J is, we multiply by 3 and then we add, because PEMDAS would tell us to do it in that order, right? So we want to undo those things. We want to undo the constant. We'll undo the weaker link first, and then we'll undo this 3. So if we're adding 5/6, to undo that or do the opposite of it, that is to subtract 5/6 from both sides. That would get rid of it. So yay, on the left side, we just have positive 3J, and that's going to equal whatever negative 2/3 minus 5/6 is. All right, so negatives and subtraction, they're a little bit tricky. So I always tell you guys to do keep, change. A negative minus something is like a negative plus a negative, and it's a little bit easier to combine them at that point. So if I keep, and then I change this to addition and make that a negative 5/6, and think, instead of thinking of it as minus a positive, I do adding a negative. That's going to give me whatever 3 times J is going to equal. So now I just have to make my denominators match again. Okay, so 3 goes into 6 twice. So 3 times 2 is 6. So 2 times 2 is 4. So a negative 4/6 combined with a negative 5/6 is negative 9/6. Negative 9/6, we can simplify that, right? They're both divisible by 3. The numerator, 9 divided by 3, and the denominator divided by 3. It's going to give me negative 3/2. So negative 3/2. Things are getting a little crowded in here. Let me change marker colors just so it stands out. So this is what we have at this point. And all we did was we subtracted 5/6 from both sides. But when I did that, I did keep, change. And I had to combine 2 negatives, making sure their denominator was the same, and then going back and simplifying it. So fractions, they do have a lot of steps sometimes. So now I want to get rid of that 3. Okay, 3 times J. If it's beside it, we divide it, right? We could just divide by 3. Dividing by 3 is the same thing as multiplying by 1/3. If I divided this fraction right here, negative 3/2 by 3, I would have to multiply by 1/3. So I'm going to just jump right into it and do it that way. Times 1/3 on the left, times 1/3 on the right. See, 3 could be like over 1, right? The reason it cancels out is because those things reduce. So now, yay, I'm so close to being alone. J is on the left. And then I have to know what negative 3/2 times positive 1/3 are. My 3's actually cancel each other out. They simplify. Negative 1/2. Negative 1/2. And that's the final answer for J. So if we plugged that back in and multiplied it by 3 and then added 5/6, we would get an answer that would simplify to be negative 2/3. All right, so the fraction ones, they take a little longer, but take your time, watch the errors, make sure that you're not making silly mistakes. Use a calculator if that helps you to do things like reduce, and that'll be better for you, okay? You've got one with fractions here. So you're going to start with, this one is multiplying by the fraction, and then we're subtracting 3. So you're going to undo this first. You're going to add 3 to both sides. And then instead of dividing by negative 9/10, multiply by the reciprocal on each side. Multiply by negative 10/9. So add 3 to both sides and then multiply by negative 10/9. I'm not going to work it out for you because I want you to do that yourself. Then down in this next section on percents, we just still need to keep working on these. These are huge and important life skill. Is over of equals the percent over the 100. So you plug in the 3 things that you know, and then you solve for that one missing piece that you don't. Oh, you know what? I got so excited. I'm going to come back to percents in just a second. I'm going to still finish this one. 3 times k and 3 times -5. That's how I would start out this equation. I'm sorry for transitioning really quickly there, but I wanted to make sure that my recording isn't too long. Now I want to add 15 to both sides, do the opposite of the constant. -16 plus 15. Think about money. If I had -$16 and I found 15 bucks, I still have -$1. And then I can divide that 3 away. If it's beside it, divide it. K equals -1/3. Okay. And then now we're going to jump to percents. Sorry about that. That was a little confusing. What percent of 130 is 91? So plug in the things that you know. What percent? So I don't know my percent. I always know my 100 of 130. So that's my of 130 is 91. 91 is my is. So once I set up my proportion, I could just cross multiply. 130 times x is going to equal 91 times 100, or 9100. Divide away that 130. X is alone and so happy about it. Take out that handy dandy calculator. 9100. There go the lights. Divided by 130, 70. Okay, so what percent of 130 is 91? 70%. Oops, I got off the screen there. 70% of 130 is 91. Same thing we could do. I'll just do number 6 as an example. 13% of 400 is what number? Okay, my is over of equals my percent over my 100. 13 is my percentage. We always know 100 of 400. So my of is 400 down here. And then is what? We don't know. Cross multiply. 100 times x is 100x. 13 times 400. Ooh, I did something wrong. 13 times 400 is 5,200. Divide away that 100 on both sides to get x happy and alone. X will equal, just cancel out, 52. Okay, so 70 and 52 are the answers. So 13% of 400 is 52. All right. And notice that this is not a percentage. Pay attention to what they're asking for. This one's saying what percentage. Okay, so we're going to give it to them as a percentage. This is saying what number. Most of the answers are not going to have a percentage sign unless they ask specifically for that. Last but not least, we're going to do this game, not game, but we've got this game for sale. It's a hot new gaming system. It's $200. So if I discount it or mark it up, how much is that going to be? So what you want to do is find out what would the discount be and then take it away from the price. Or what would the markup be and add that into the price. So if I wanted to find the discount of 20%, I want to find out what is 20% of 200. So listen to those words. What is 20% of 200? So I could go through and do the same thing, guys, that I did up here with my is over of equals percent over whole. Okay. Another way to do that is 0.20. 0.20 is 20%. And so whenever I hear the word of, that's telling me to multiply. 20% of a number is 0.20 times that number. So 0.20, okay, that's 20% of is multiplying. $200 is going to be 40 bucks. So my discount is $40. So all I have to do now is take that $200 and I'm taking away $40. So that leaves me with $160 left. If I want to do the markup, I'm going to find out what is 30% of $200 and I'm going to add it because I marked it up. So the words discount and markup make all the difference on those kinds of problems. Okay. Be sure when you get your Spiral Review to answer your questions. What's your favorite day of the week? What's your best friend's pet's middle name? If you can figure that one out, bonus points. And then what is your name going to be? Put that at the bottom there. And that way I will know whose paper is whose. All right, guys, have a good afternoon. See ya.